Hi guys, ArchieLuxury, and who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW.
Well, that's only drama, but that's only
No,
drama.
this is true. True story.
True
story. She was a therapist in a centre for people with drugs and that, giving people assistance. So her husband, she met her husband. They had a divorce. Both had divorce. Then they met each other. Then he had 4 houses apparently, and they had 3 or 4 years of good marriage, and then things fell apart. Now, why? Personal reasons why. So they separated. And then she thought, well, he's got 4 houses, I got nothing, or one. It's not really right. We should have, half each.
Yeah.
But when she met him, he had nothing, and he had 4. So she put a contract out on him.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes then, isn't it?
But the thing was, the person who was getting therapy from her, she got that girl, to find somebody for her.
Yeah.
And she went and told the police, so they got a policeman to do that.
Yeah.
And then they stitched her up, and when she went to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but people do unusual things for money. They do.
Well, did you see that investment advisor in Sydney who went missing?
Yeah.
Did you hear about that or not?
Just recently.
Melissa Caddick, her name was.
Yeah.
So,
is she found, or she's missing?
Well, it had an update today, right? So she basically, she wasn't a licensed.
No.
But the thing is with her, 60 Minutes went to she used an accountant in Brisbane. And they went and interviewed him. They went and chased after him, with the camera crew in the car park.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, why would she use a small accountant like you? But that's not fair to put onto the accountant.
No, it's not, because
he's still a CPA or a chartered or something like that. He's done some study and.
Well, we were a small firm. We got a public company from India to be our client.
They're still your client?
Yeah.
But I mean, anyhow, the thing is with her, she basically said she was investing it, but she was just spending it, really. They found her foot this morning.
A foot?
Yes. They used DNA to track it. It's actually her. That's all they found is her foot.
What, a leg?
No, her foot. So in a shoe. They found it at a campsite. It came up on shore. I'm not, no, but she looks like she committed suicide or something happened to her, and then.
Wow.
It's pretty. I don't know why she put herself under that much pressure. I mean, does it matter if you live in a $7 million house?
So, yeah. Well,
do you really need? Sometimes people seem to be caught up in this stuff here. Do you really need a $10 million house in Sydney or what? Do you really need? She had a very nice lifestyle she led and that there, but do you really have to do that? I can't think anything worse. The pressure that you'd have on this stuff would be horrendous.
Yeah, but you get entrenched. I mean, you've got a family and a house and commitments, and it's pretty hard to pull up stumps and then go to some country town where everything's cheaper. You might not have much net equity anyway.
Yeah.
So, it's always from an outsider's point of view, you sort of say, why don't you do that? But when you're in that position, it's pretty hard to do it. And it's all these things, like, for instance, gambling or drinking or what else? What's the other vice? Sex. Well, sex, but
no, drugs, gambling, drinking, drugs.
Drugs, gambling.
Vices there, really.
So if you got that problem, People say, well, why don't they stop it? You know, get a job. Well,
Sure.
it's not easy.
Not
You know,
quite.
it's hard to get out of it, and you know, I don't know what triggers people to get out of it, but sometimes they just can't get out of it, and they go from worse to worse to worse, and they just can't, they would like to. I saw a guy at Vinnie's, and he said. We took him apart one day and said, listen, how can we help you? Because you're a nice person. And he said, you can't help me. He said, I've tried. He says, I've been to jail 16 times or something. I try, but then I thought I get short of money, so I steal or I do something, and I'm in the trouble again. He says, there's no hope for me.
Yeah.
I suppose if he wants to get out, he really wanted to get out of it, but you know, nobody's going to say, right here, well, come here. We'll have, this is your house. It's free. We're going to give you $1,000 a week, and you're going to get treatment or whatever. Nobody's going to do that. You know,
No.
You still live under the rubbish bin, or from you know, house to house. There's no support, and your partner. Nobody wants you as a partner. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do. And well, there's never a system for anything. You know, people, like if your wife got very sick, all of a sudden you need help. Well, who's going to help you? There's really no support systems. They're
Sure.
very poor. The support systems are very poor, aren't they? For all sorts of these things, situations. Was ill health or
but I think things are a bit better now because the thing is, because you've now got everyone's got compulsory super, you can get payouts from that now early.
and not on drugs, but
insurance component, like no, but drugs. Look, but I'm saying if you have got like say you got cancer or certain things like this, they will pay you out, and they'll also pay you your insurance out.
well,
No.
like in a case like yours, how much do you get pay out? You just get your money back.
What's that for?
You haven't got insurance.
I do. I've got insurance. I have got insurance.
Attached to super,
Yes, I got 400,000 cover.
but you're not working.
It doesn't matter. I've got 100,000 in my super, which pays the insurance premiums.
You got that range, have you? Yeah.
Well, it doesn't.
But then
they
is
don't
that?
have-
But what's it for? Death or permanent
Death
incapacity?
or both.
Yeah, it depends what type of policy you've got too. Because it's not always. Sometimes it's just when you die.
No, I know that. But the
Once
thing
you die,
is,
you don't need the help.
no. But what I'm saying is how much help do you really need then?
Oh, a lot.
No, like what?
Well, ideally, I suppose, yeah, like a person's older. What would you really like? You want a house? You want a nurse that comes in, or who comes in and spends all day with you, and it helps you shower, makes you a cup of tea, makes something to eat for you, or you know, assistant. So I suppose you wouldn't call her a nurse. You don't need a nurse, and so it's with you all the time. At night time, well, somebody is available on call or something, and if you got something bad, well, you need them then all the time. So that costs something like 350,000 a year.
No, but it doesn't have to be 350,000 a year. It can be 80,000 a year.
Yeah, but what do you get for 80,000?
No, but well, back the truck up there. It depends in. Look, you can get wholesale rates. You know, if you're going to go through an agency, it costs you a fortune. But if you hire your own people, it's a lot cheaper.
But,
and you don't need an RN.
No,
for
you
a lot
don't.
of it, you need someone who's low.
But if you're a guy with dementia, you're not going to be negotiating rates.
That's what I'm just saying to you. Hopefully, you have people who can.
And then when that person that you have negotiated a good rate with, and you're going to look after you, then 3 years later she wants to shift to Sydney or something, and then how do you negotiate when you're half cuckoo?
But you've still got someone who can help you. Look, the reality is, if you in your own case, it doesn't matter because you can't even remember. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
It gets difficult.
Bringing me frenemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Frenemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Frenemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Frenemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck.
Like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and don't be afraid to get a paid review. $50 for a paid review. It helps me stay full-time on YouTube, and I will see you in the next one. $50 paid review. I can't survive on Google Ads. I need your support. And guys, you could also sponsor me on Patreon. Patreon allows you to pay as little as $1 a month to keep me on YouTube. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. Who do I recommend for watches in Brisbane and Sydney? Vintage Watch Co. That's correct. Vintage Watch Co. in Brisbane Arcade in Brisbane and the Strand Arcade in Sydney. Vintage Watch Co. Brisbane and Sydney. Ronnie, I've known him since the late 90s. Ronnie is a top bloke. Luke is a great guy. Vintage Watch Co. That is who I recommend in Australia. Check out Vintage Watch Co. and the guys' amazing range of watches. They also do service and repairs. Vintage Watch Co. That is where the Pontiff goes. You know, some of my Patek's came from Vintage Watch Co. That's right, guys. Vintage Watch Co.